Good morning. Welcome to Back at It Bosses. Back at It Bosses is about finding our way home through self-value, through what is valuable to your life, what is important to your life. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what is important to me? We find our way home through what is meaningful to our life. This is not only a journey, but it is a healing and a mercy for our lives, right? Who don't want to be healed from the trauma and the drama that we went through in our lives? I don't know no one. But what I want to get right to the subject, right? And I'm gonna try to be brief as possible. But one of the ways, or one of the ideas, or one of the things that stop us from getting back to our authentic self is living in this hypersexual society. Every time you turn around, in conversation with men, in conversation with women, sex is at the top of the conversation. Sometimes it's the bulk of the conversation. I was up under the leadership of a pastor. I worked in like a multi-purpose setting where you had different pastors, imams, rabbis. So I worked with each one of them. And I would be amongst these people, very pious people. Very pious people. But the topic, some way, it would come up about sex. When I would get around my friends, the topic of sex would come up. When I was in the presence of women, and also I've done a inventory, I also did my research, women have these same conversations. Some of the top of the conversation is sex. When we look at the news, it's sex. When we look at someone trying to sell a beautiful car, it is sex, a half-naked woman. When you walk into the malls, or when you walk into Walmart, and you walk into Sam's store, you see half-naked women, right? And it seems like some type of way it has been normalized where women are just half-naked. And it's normal, it's cool, right? I was with a great friend of mine, very brother. I respect him greatly. He's one of my mentors. And we was driving down the street, and he said, "Oh my God!" And I didn't know what was going on with him. But I was like, "What's going on, bro?" He said, "You see that sister?" And I have never saw this brother act like this. But the sister was half naked. Now, I didn't stand on a high podium and judge this brother, but I knew that this had to be addressed, how powerful it is a distraction. How much of it is a distraction. Sex. It stops people from getting to their authentic self. Most men, the conversation, the bulk of the conversation is about sex. Most men are preoccupied. Mine are always occupied about sex. Right? So I want to share with you a journey, something I did before. And I don't want to be long. This is just off the dome. I just got up this morning. I want to talk about it. But what I did one day, I didn't want to be a slave to habits. Something I consider bad habits. So what I did when I went through this spiritual journey, if I saw a woman half naked, I will politely look the other way. If I dealt with a woman in my workplace because I worked in the hospital for about 9 years. If I saw a woman, her uniform was too tight, I politely lowered my gaze. I didn't see her. If a woman had too much cleavage, I would look at her from right here. All right. From that experience of doing that for a number of days, because I was testing myself, it freed me up where I actually could pay attention to my own spiritual life, where I actually could pay attention to my own purpose in life, where I can get a piece of my authentic self back, right? So that became a norm for me. And sometimes I would end a conversation and I almost felt like a child amongst men when they was talking about things that maybe we shouldn't have been talking about. I wouldn't offer a great opinion about it. I wouldn't interact in the bulk of the conversation. Now, I'm saying something about this not because I'm a special individual where I don't have no flaws. I don't notice beautiful women. I notice beautiful women every time I turn on my phone, every time I walk outside, every time I'm in a restaurant. I see them, right? But I don't go to them. I don't stare at them. Because what happens, and I'm talking to men, when you do that, it distracts you from your life. Like, you will go to work and work 12 hours, 12 long hours, to spend your money, not on the woman, but on sex. You will hustle all night in the streets because you preoccupied by sex. Because we live in a hypersexual society where people are walking around half naked. It's been normalized. Ain't nothing wrong with it. That's what we say. But something very, very, very wrong about this. Because even as a woman, when you attract something, you attract the filthiness too. Like, you might be trying to get this man attention, but you bring in all the dogs, all the perverts, all the scum of the earth, because you don't know who you're going to see half naked. Right? And I don't want to get off the subject, but what I'm saying is how powerful this sex thing has distracted our society, or distracted us from getting to our authentic self. I never knew how hard it was to be distracted, not distracted, until I put my effort into it. When I put my effort in not being distracted, I had to really look at myself. Really look at myself, right? And I had to really, really look at myself to get over that hump of wanting to look 2 and 3 times. This is real conversation. If you want to get home to your authentic self, your real self, your true self, if you want to be free, if you want to be free to be strong in your true self, I'm almost begging you to try this. Try for one day. When you see something, look the other way or don't see it. When you see somebody half naked, don't see it. When you see somebody with a cleavage, like from a distance, and you having to talk, look them in their eyes. Men, I'm talking to you. Look them in their eyes, and you'll see how strong you will become. You will see how focused you will become. Because, like, think about this. If you're at work, and whatever you may be doing, and you're not all the way at work because you got sex on your mind, you're not into what you're supposed to be into because sex is on your mind. See what I'm saying? Even when you're with your mate and you seen the wrong thing before you came in contact, sex is on your mind. This is a distraction. This takes away from what you are into. Like, to really believe in something in life, to really believe in yourself, you have to be into yourself or into whatever you into. But if you are partly distracted, it knocks your performance. It knocks your belief in being into it. This is what I'm saying. How can we get off into our authentic self? How can we come home to ourselves if we greatly distracted? You know, my best talks are to me. You say, who you talking? You talking to? No, I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me first. And I got to be talking to me first so I can talk to you. I talk to you how I talk to me. How are you going to elevate in life if sex is the greater distraction? Men go off into careers, not because they want to climb the corporate ladder. They do it for sex, for women at the job, in the prison system. People go into the prison system guards. They go in it to have sex. They go up the rank to have sex. People climb the corporate ladder to have sex. But it does not actually allow them to get to their authentic self. It's like being weighed down. You never understand how much we make sex a part of our life until you stop trying to focus on this and focus on yourself. This is why a lot of people live a minute life, because sex is at the top. You know, sex is at the top because if a society tell the woman she need her nails done, you got to have your nails done. You got to have your makeup. You got to have your eyelash. You got to have a tight dress. You got to be a little revealing. This is at the top. You got to be sexy. Some of us women, if you were to cover up, like very respectful, you have nothing to give. And this is not all women. You have nothing to give but what comes out your dirty mouth, because it will be sex. We see sex in the body language, in the clothing. Men, if you was to dress up respectfully, this is the man with the money. You dress up respectfully, and you got the money, but you will have nothing to give if you didn't have any money. If you didn't have any money, you would have nothing to give. I'm talking to the men with the bag, because we have been taught to use our bag as a bartering tool, as a tool to get what we want, as a tool to get sex. And I'm still on top of what I'm saying. This sex thing being at the top of our conversation, at the top of our thoughts, is a distraction from us coming home to our authentic self. I'll just give what I'm telling you some thought. Who would you be, women, if you couldn't flaunt your body? If your character came from your words and your action, who would you be? Men, who would you be if you couldn't give your money away for sex? Who would you be? Normalize lowering your gauge, how you looking at a person. Like sometimes women, they would not give you their bodies. They want to wait a period of time, right? But you want him to wait a period of time, but how you dress speaks another language. You got sex at the top of his mind. You have sex at the top of his mind, how you dress. The moral of what I'm saying is, if we could just discipline ourselves on what we look at, what we allow our eyes to look at, we can get a lot to concur of, men and women. Right? We can get a lot to concur of. If we don't make sex a high priority or high conversation. Really, it's a low conversation. Right? But when we focus on what we're doing and we push sex out the way, because sex is very strong. It's a very, very strong appetite. Very strong appetite. I'm not going to stay long with you, but I want you to understand what I understand. And I'm taking myself back on a deeper journey of disciplining myself of what I see. It's certain things your eyes don't supposed to see. Because if they see it, they want to see it again. And even, I'm tell you something, even when you know that your eyes don't supposed to see something, when you know your eyes don't supposed to see, you turn away. But you saw it. I leave you as I came with peace, that feel good feeling, without a stain. Love you, people.